What's up, guys? Welcome to a new episode of the Elite Self Show. It has been an absolute minute since I recorded an episode, and I'm super excited to bring you guys some heat today. I am committing to doing this podcast more often. I think I've averaged about an episode per quarter, maybe even less than that, honestly. Like an episode every 4 to 5 months at this point. I think there's only 7 episodes so far, and maybe 6-7 episodes, and I made my first one like a year and a half ago, so whatever that is. But anyways, I've been getting some requests lately, and people are asking what's up, and so I want to bring you guys topics. And I had a thing in my head where, if I have to do an episode, I have to make it this kind of, long, like big thing. And that's not the case. In fact, some of the episodes that I enjoy the most from other people are just short and spicy, concise episodes. So that's what this one's going to be here today. Some of them will be longer, some of them won't be. Some of them will be guests, some of them will just be myself. This one will just be myself. And today I want to talk about a topic that is very personal to me because it was involved in my story. And I know it's going to be relevant for many of you out there. And for many of you, it won't be relevant, but for some of you, it will. And that is, should you go to post-secondary school, college or university? And the concepts from this can actually apply to you even if you're not in university, but we'll touch on that in a second. But essentially, there's people in high school who are questioning what is the best move. There are people who are currently in university who are questioning what's the best move. There are people who are in university that are kind of taking general courses that are not sure what path they want to take. And there are people that are on a path that are now questioning, is this the right path? Should I maybe choose a different path within university? Or should I choose a path that is maybe something outside of university? And by the way, guys, with a situation like this, especially if you are consulting your parents, you're often going to get a right or wrong type of vibe from them, where they're going to say, oh, you should do this because it'll be best, or you should not do this because it won't be best. The fact of the matter is, guys, is any option that you choose will be the right answer. It'll just be maybe more or less right than another option. In hindsight, it's impossible to know while you're going through it. So just know that, guys, that whatever you do, it's really not that big of a deal. Now, here is the prerequisite for that mentality. The prerequisite is that no matter what path you choose, you must be applying all of yourself to it, right? None of these options are going to do anything if you're just slacking, if you're not studying, if you're not applying yourself to it, if you're not educating yourself, if you're not working on yourself. None of these options will even matter. In fact, this conversation doesn't even matter because nothing that you're doing will lead to achieving your full potential, right? This conversation is predicated on the fact that you are a person that wants to achieve your full potential, right? If you're coming at this from a point of slacking and just like kind of laziness, then please tune into another podcast, because this is for the people that actually want to max out their life and don't just want to kind of glide by. Now, I will say that there are certain aspects of your life where maybe you do feel a little less motivated, or maybe you do feel a little lazy. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a lazy person, or it doesn't necessarily mean that that's just who you are. You know what I mean? If you're getting bad grades in school currently, it may not be because you're not smart. In fact, it's very unlikely that it's because you're not a smart person. Maybe it's just the wrong vehicle. It might just be the wrong lane, okay? And this is really important because a lot of people are judging themselves based on their performance in university or college, and they're kind of equating that to the value they have as a person, and that's just not the case. And that's one of the core fundamental problems of the school system in general, is they are equating their students' confidence and their stock in themselves to a very, very irrelevant little sliver of what it is to be educated. So what I want to give you guys here is just some perspective on the whole equation, because I actually dropped out of university. I was 2 years in to engineering at the University of Manitoba here in Winnipeg in Canada. And, in order to get into engineering, you needed really good grades. So in grade 12, I grinded and I got really good grades. I got like high 90s average in grade 12 and got into engineering, direct entry. And then once I hit engineering, I became a bad student, like pretty immediately. I was not studying. I was not applying myself. I was not doing self-development. I was doing none of the things that I just told you guys to do, right? And I say all that because I'm talking from experience, right? And this actually caused a lot of stress and anxiety, and I was getting bad grades, I was failing some courses, and I ended up dropping out. And then from there, I initiated my own self-development journey where I started trying these different endeavors, and I started really figuring out what is my true potential, what is my full potential, and tried all these get-rich-quick schemes, and eventually landed on my current business. But I'm not going to go too far into my story. I just want to give you guys, like I said, some perspective on if you're in the trenches, if you're in school and you feel like it's super overwhelming, you know you're meant for something great. You know that you're capable of creating an amazing life for yourself, for your family. You know you're capable of creating some type of positive impact on the world, but you're not exactly sure which lane is the best to arrive at. And I want to boil it down for you guys into a few core categories, because oftentimes people think post-secondary or non-post-secondary as the two different vast paths. And it's really not the case, guys. I want you to look at it a little bit different. I want you to look at it in categories of how you are improving. So categories in regards to your education, in regards to your self-development, in regards to networking are three of the core kind of categories here. In education, you are being educated in post-secondary. The question I want you to ask yourself is, based on the current vision I have for my life, based on the current career or business I want to start, is the education I'm currently being taught in school contributing to the version of myself that I want to apply to that business that I want to create or that career that I want to go into? A lot of people are just in school as an obligation, not to educate themselves. And this mindset is really, really limiting, because a lot of people exit school. Most people exit school having no idea what they learned, if anything, or saying that the things that I learned are completely irrelevant, and they're just focused on the degree. They're focused on the piece of paper they get at the end of the degree, right? So I want you to focus on the education itself. Is the education that you're learning actually valuable for who you want to become and what you want to create? That's question number one. And some courses will be more applicable than others, but just viewing it from a bird's eye view, is what you're learning actually contributing to this? And under the category of education, again, post-secondary is one option. There are many, 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 many other areas of education, some of which are less efficient, some of which are 1,000 times more effective and efficient than post-secondary. For example, if you want to start a business, post-secondary is certainly not the only option out there. You can find a mentor that can streamline 20 to 30 to 50 years of very potent education into a 5-month program and completely expedite your process. That will be much more efficient than taking a 4-year degree, right? This is a route I've taken after I've dropped out of university. The only shortcut to success is by modeling it, is by learning how to do it and learning who to become by a person who has what you want, right? And a lot of the people that are teaching you things in school haven't necessarily achieved the things that they're talking about, right? So this is one benefit of a mentor, where if you stack a mentor up against the degree, I will take a mentor like 99 times out of 100, just because you are learning straight from a person who has achieved exactly what you want to achieve, and in a much quicker fashion as well. And again, this may not be the best fit for you. I'm not here to suggest that one is better than the other. I'm telling you one was better for me, but on your end, I simply just want you to ask yourself the question and view it from an angle of your own benefit, right? Where post-secondary is an option, where mentorship is an option, where taking a third-party course is an option, right? Self-education is an option, where reading books are an option. I want you to look at all this and evaluate, what education do you actually want to acquire right now? And then looking at what's best. What's the best way to acquire it, okay? So again, post-secondary is simply just one option. It's not the be-all, end-all. Okay, so education, again, one category. Another category that I hear a lot about in regards to people, usually from people who say that college is a great thing to do, is the networking aspect of it. You'll hear people say, look at the people you can meet in post-secondary. Look at the alliances you can build. A lot of business partnerships that are formed through university, and there is a lot of validity to this. I mean, looking back on it, I think that some of the best attributes of university are developing your communication skills, developing your social skills, getting involved, developing your network, like meeting new people from different niches, and learning how to work in a team. All these different social attributes of university are very good. And again, similarly to the first category, I don't want you to say that, similarly, like people who are very for this say, this is what university provides and you can't get that outside of university. You can 100% get that outside of university. It just depends how much initiative you take. You can meet 1,000 people in university. You could also meet 2 people in university. You can meet 1,000 people outside of university. You could also meet 2 people outside of university, right? Depends how much initiative you can take. There are just different options, okay? There are apps specifically for this, like the app called Meetup, where you can search for local gatherings of like-minded people based on different categories. You can also reach out to people via Instagram, connect there, or in social media, any social media. You could go to local events, Toastmasters. There are 1,000 different ways you can meet people that are in your headspace, that are in your niche, both in university and out. Again, I simply want you to ask the question, what type of circle do I want to build right now? What type of network do I want to build? What type of connections do I want to create? And then analyze university, analyze other options, and look at what can I actually do, right? And lastly, with your self-development, your self-development can happen whether you're in a university or not. This won't necessarily be a category that most people will talk about out there with in regards to the conversation of university versus no university, but self-development, it can happen both in and out of university. Let's assume you are doing the fundamentals. Let's assume you are already doing, like, really focusing on your sleep, your health, your nutrition, your fitness. Maybe you're meditating, maybe you're journaling, maybe you're doing cold showers, right? Let's say you're already doing a certain amount of initiatives. Let's analyze just the self-growth portion of that is within university, that is exclusive to university and is exclusive to, let's say, trying to start a business outside of university. In university, again, it depends on who you are and where you're currently at. Self-growth meets you exactly where you're at, right? And it will expose your most urgent areas of opportunity. University and business will provide, different flavors of it. Ultimately, in university, it's a very contained, safe environment where your success is measured very tangibly in one category, right? Of essentially memorization, of studying, of obedience, right? So the ways that you'll grow as a result of this are going to be your discipline, your time management, your studying skills, your ability to focus. And then if you do anything outside of that, you might, if you're if you're a very introverted person going into university, you'll develop your social skills. And these can be very important areas of growth. On the business side, if you start a business, from my experience, there's no personal growth vehicle like entrepreneurship. If you start a business, you will evolve faster than you ever thought was possible in every single category, right? It will expose what you currently need to work on the most. It will be a very potent catalyst for things that are maybe already being developed. And ultimately, it will, in my opinion, it grows you a lot faster than university. But again, it depends on what you do in university. If you take massive initiative in university and join a bunch of clubs and do contests and get involved in the student leadership and create these initiatives and really work your ass off, it can provide very similar flavors of development. The main ones you'll see in entrepreneurship that you won't really see in university is, in entrepreneurship, you're in the real world. In university, you're kind of in this kind of miniature fantasy land where, it's you're not really failing in the real world. You're not really learning how the real world works. And this can serve you to a certain extent, but it can also hold you back to a certain extent, because life in university is much different than life on the streets, for lack of a better term, where you're in the real world, where you're doing real business. So, but also, like, you can go to university and then start a business, right? Or you can try a business like right out of high school and then go back into university, try it, and then go back into business, right? Or maybe you're building a business while you're in university, right? Just like I mentioned at the start, there's no right or wrong. All of these options, guys, are right, as long as you are applying your full self to them, okay? Again, the main points that I wanted to look at today was to get you to question to get you to look at this from a bird's eye view and say, I want to achieve this result. I want to become this person. I want this out of my life. What are the vehicles that I can use to get that most quickly and most efficiently, right? I've talked to a lot of people that are in university just because their parents want them to be, when they know full well that is not the right, that is just simply a waste of time, where they're not even going to use their degree, or the thing that they really want to do, they could be doing now, but instead they're focused on school. For those people, I want you to really, really look at it from a perspective of, if you are wasting 4 years of your life just because your parents want you to, you are going to end up resenting them in the end. And you can even do what you want to do after your degree, but you'll still resent them for taking away 2 to 4 to 6 years of your life, okay? And by going against the grain in the short term, against your parents, against your friends, against society, and by dropping out or by not going to school, you'll face some backlash in the short term, you'll face some judgment, or maybe not, but in most cases that will happen. It'll be tough to deal with, but it'll be 100% worth it, because you will be moving fast in the lane that you know is correct for you. And again, I have no idea what is correct for you. I don't know if university is a good play for you. I don't know if dropping out is. I don't know if trying both at the same time or one then the other. It completely depends on who you are, what you want out of life right now, what you want out of life in the future, and the different vehicles that are available to get you there. I just wanted to bring some light to this conversation, and with the punchline again, that there's no wrong option if you're applying your full self to whatever you're currently doing. You know, if you're currently in business, but you know you should be in school, then go to school. You know what I mean? If you're in school knowing that you should start a business, start a business. Sometimes you guys know what's deep within your gut. You guys know the right answer for, like, a lot of times it can be challenging to find clarity in this conversation, especially if you're in the middle of it. You guys know the right answer deep down. And sometimes it just takes a video like this to really give you permission to make that decision, to go all out on what you already know is correct for you. Okay, so again, to reiterate one more time, none of this was to convince you that one option is better than the other. I mentioned a few things that I think have been better for me personally in my journey, but again, that can be completely different for you. And again, this is your life. As long as you're applying yourself to it, as long as you're trying your best, guys, as long as you're trying your best, I think that is the only thing that matters. Whether you're in school or not, trying your best is the thing that matters. So, you know, all of you listening to this are at completely different points in your life. And I mentioned that at the start that, you know, the concepts that we're talking about here apply to you, even if you're not in university. And there may be some of you listening to this who have gone through university or maybe not, but the way that this applies to your life is that whatever vehicle you're currently in, you must do your best in it. You must devote all of yourself to that vehicle, right? Because by working on something with all of yourself, it will be working on you back. And that development is worth its weight in gold. Okay, so whatever you're working on, whether it's a business or maybe it's a 9 to 5, and then, you know, the 9 to 5 can kind of take the place of university in this conversation. Maybe you should be in a 9 to 5. Maybe you should start a business. Maybe you could be doing both. Maybe one then the other. It's kind of the same conversation. So again, I would ask yourself, I would evaluate these 3 categories, right? Education and network, self-development. A lot of people are telling themselves that they need to be in a 9 to 5 before they start a business. That's false. That's false, okay? That doesn't need to be the case. You can start a business right away. The learning curves will just look a bit different. For some of you, doing a 9 to 5 before starting a business will be the right move. For some of you, hopping right into business will be the right move. For some of you, having a side hustle while you're in a 9 to 5 and then quitting your 9 to 5 eventually is the right move. Again, it depends on what you want out of life right now, what you want out of life in the future, and then evaluating the categories with, what am I trying to get out of this 9 to 5 right now? Is it the stability and salary very nice for you right now? Are you being educated in a way that you value right now? Are you growing in a way that you value right now? Are you making connections and networking in a way you value right now? If you're not, then it might be worth reevaluating, okay? And same thing if you're in business. It's like all these categories apply. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you educating yourself? Are you building a network? Are you developing yourself, right? So again, all these, there's so much going on. There's so much in this equation, guys. And, you know, there's so many different factors that can lead you to make different decisions that are not based on your internal compass. Like your parents can influence you, your friends, your family, your coworkers, society. You know, you're listening to Gary Vee on Instagram, that can influence you. You know, it's like there's so many different influences, guys. The one thing that I want to bring you guys back to one last time, just for good measure, is that whatever you're currently doing, do your best at it. Because then no matter what you're doing, it will not be a waste of time, whether you're in a 9 to 5, university, business, whatever, or none of the above. As long as you're doing your doing your best at what you currently have going on, that is the most important thing. And then choosing which lane to go in will be more of an optimizational thing. Okay. So again, all of you will have different places that you're currently in life right now. Ultimately, I hope I brought you a little bit of clarity, or maybe I just got you thinking in a different way, or provided you some perspective on the situation. Feel free to reach out to me on social media. Helping people around this is something that I love to just do. If I get people in my DM saying, hey, I'm really ambitious. I want to achieve something great. I'm in high school right now. I'm not sure what to do. I love helping people who know they want something amazing out of life, but are not exactly sure kind of how to navigate their current situation. So if you want my 2 cents, feel free to hit me up on social media. My Instagram is at Zach R. Bailey, at ZACHRBAILEY, if you want to. But either way, hope you found some value in this episode. I will also love taking topic suggestions for episodes. So if you have kind of a situation in your life, if you're an ambitious person, maybe you're an entrepreneur, a leader, or maybe you want to be one of those things eventually, and you have a question or you have a topic that you love for me to talk about, feel free to DM me as well, or email me. I think the email will be attached in this podcast somewhere, but hit me up if there's something specific, and feel free to leave a review. I mean, if you guys got some value out of this, or it made you think, or anything of that nature, leaving a review or a positive rating will pump up the podcast such that it can reach more people like yourself. And you never know, listening to one thing one time can change the entire trajectory of someone's life. It's happened for me personally, and you never know who that person could be. So again, I hope you guys found some value in this, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.